Hi, this is Barbara Cavadius. I'm the coordinator for the Morristown group of the Community Share Garden at Genesis Farm. I've heard from a number of you that you're having trouble figuring out what to do with all those root vegetables in the winter. And we've just had a massive snowstorm here in the Northeast. So I'm going to show you how to make split pea soup. It's going to use up a bunch of vegetables. I'll show you what I use. You can do what you want. But and then I'm going to try to be more regular about showing you other videos of things that you can do. So I've already got my stove on the pot. I've already scrubbed my vegetables, and I'll go through and show them to you in a minute and talk about each one for a moment. But first I'm going to turn the pot on because it's better to start with a hot pot before you put your onions in, which will be the first ingredient. So I like to just warm it up. I have an onion. It's very clear it's an onion. And I collect compost. Let me get a container. Actually, there's so much snow out there, I'm going to have to put snowshoes on rather to go take out the compost. So it's a little full right now. So I'll have to do it from here. Basically, for an onion, I'll show you how to squish this down. You still can't see, okay? Move this back a little bit. Still can't see the screen, but essentially I cut the two ends off. I put it with the flat end down and then I peel off the outer layer with the skin on it. One of these layers has gone nasty a little bit, so I may have to take two layers off on one side. So it's got a little inside there. It actually came from the store. I used up all the farm onions already, so I had to get some organic onions from the store, and they are not storing that well this winter. One of the reasons I prefer things from the farm. So but for that you just take off the layer, and then there's still a little bit left, so I cut that off too. So I have them on there. I don't like my onion pieces really big, so I'm cutting from the top to the bottom with it flat, cut in half, and then I'm cutting pieces. I've talked to you before, for those of you who have seen these videos before, to make sure that you don't just chop down with your knife, but that you have a nice action and kind of keep one end of your knife, the front end of your knife is always staying on the cutting board, and you're really just rocking the knife. It's better for the knife, it's better for your board, it's better for your hands, you have more control, it's just better all around. So I'm going to basically dice my onions, so you can kind of see it like that. It's diced. And I'm going to put my hand over the pot. I can feel it's getting kind of warm in there. So I'm going to pour some oil. You don't need a lot, but I like to brown my vegetables first before I put the rest of the soup ingredients in. So I'll put that up a little bit more than halfway, and I'll put the onions in to get them started. If you notice, when I push the vegetables off the cutting board, I don't use the sharp side of the knife. I use the back end of the knife. It's better for the knife and keeps your blade from dulling faster, even though it's really a great blade. So since you're not going to see it, I might as well put it up. Okay, so I've scrubbed all my vegetables. So I'm going to show you. So I'm going to use, this is so funny. This carrot got a little dehydrated, so it's a little soft, but it's going in soup. It's going to be in water, so it doesn't matter. It's okay. This is a good time to use that the ends like that. I was grating a carrot for tuna salad or salmon salad, and I didn't use the whole carrot. I put the rest away, so I'll put the rest of it in my soup. Right, you know, it's a good way to use those things up. So where it's pretty skinny, I will just make little rounds. Ta-da! Little rounds. That's a nice size to go in your soup. But when it starts to get thicker, see how it's a little thicker there? I'm going to cut it in half first, and then cut, because I don't want really huge chunks. Some people like huge chunks in their soup. I'm not a fan. I don't like it too small. We all have our preferences. So you'll notice I don't peel the carrots. These came from a nice, good organic farm. I scrub them really well, and it's going to be in the soup pot. It's fine. You don't need to peel them. You're just throwing food away, really, if you do that. So I don't. I only peel when things are tough on the outside, or there's going to be some reason where it's really not going to cook up over the time that I'm cooking it. And I'm going to show you a vegetable that I do have to peel in a moment. But the parsnip is not one of them. This is a parsnip. Kind of looks like a white carrot. Now, for a lot of things, I would peel this, but in soup, it's going to cook long enough. You really don't need to. And again, the end is small, so probably up to about here. I'm just going to slice the parsnip, and then I'm going to cut it in half. Up to about here, I'll use it in quarter as a half when I do my cuts, and then at this thicker end, I'm going to cut it again so that it's in smaller pieces, but I'll show you. So first, I'll get the small end, and here I'll take this piece like this. I'll cut it in half. You see that? And then I'll just put the flat end down on the board and cut this section. And I'm going to cut you have to cut the ends off of the vegetables. And see, so this is fat, right? So it's all going to be tasty, and it's not really woody. They did a nice job. And it's thick enough. I think I'm going to cut this probably into thirds or fourths. We'll see how it cuts. Yep, fourths. I'll cut it into 4 slices. And then I'll put it flat end down, as if I'd cut it in half, and then I'll again slice, and it'll give me, they won't be round, but they will be nice slices, manageable on your spoon, whether you're eating with a big spoon or a little spoon, a tablespoon or a teaspoon. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now there's a little bit of root hairs. I can show you. Like there's a little bit of root hairs here. Can you see that? Guess you can pull them off, or you can, take the peeler off to that if you want. But in the soup, it's just going to disintegrate. So there's really no need to do that. It just takes up time and potentially scraped fingers. I can't tell you how many times I've scraped my fingers with the grater. And then I had to get a Band-Aid or something. But, so, here's a nice thing with parsnips. Just throw that in. I'm getting close enough to the point where I have enough in there to stir. I like to use wooden spoons, like long wooden spoons in my soup pots. They don't scrape the pan. Stir it a little bit to distribute the oil and get that going. Sweet potato, right? Again, I'll cut off the end. You don't need to peel it. It's perfectly fine. It's fat enough. I will cut it in half to start. And sweet potatoes can be a little hard to cut sometimes. Be careful for your fingers. And my 2 halves, they're beautiful. But I'm going to cut it again because otherwise it's too big of pieces. And I'll start slicing. And if it looks like they get too big, which they're beginning to, I'll cut a little bit more at the top where it's got really thick. Now, if these were not organic vegetables, if I was getting them, you know, from the store, or I didn't know if they were organic or not, I probably would peel them because a lot of the contaminants from the soil, or then also, you know, a lot of stores, and supermarkets, their suppliers spray the outside of vegetables, sometimes with wax which holds in the chemicals, makes it hard for you to scrub off. Some of them also use fungicides and things like that to try to prevent them from going bad. But who wants that in their food? So if I was getting something like that, I would, I dropped a piece, so I'm going to wash it off. Then I would peel, but these are organic. I don't need to do that. Now, some people think they need to peel so that they can see blemishes inside, like maybe a stick or a rock pushed on it, or a little bug tried to burrow in. But when you cut, you're going to see things. So there was a little mark on the outside of this, so I was aware. So when I cut, I could see it's a little bruised or something going on there. So I'll just cut that off. And when I cut the piece around it, it's fine. The rest I'll put in the compost. And then this will join the other vegetables. And I'll give it a stir. It'll prevent it from sticking, and it'll keep distributing the oil on the new vegetables joining it. And I've got some potatoes. Not a lot, because I'm going to make, this is going to be a split pea barley soup. So the barley is going to be plenty of starch. So I don't want, if I didn't have barley, if it was just split pea, I might use more potatoes. But since I'm going to use barley, I don't want a lot of potato for thickening it. It's just not, it's not necessary. And plus, we get farm pickup this Friday, and I'm almost out of potatoes. So all I have left are a few little potatoes. And, but here again, see, you can see on the outside there was a mark on this potato. And then when I cut them, ta-da, I see there's something more going on. So I know to cut that piece off, put it in the compost, and I look around it, everything else is fine. And there's my potatoes. Now, here's the one vegetable I'm going to peel today, and that is celery root, celeriac. Fabulous taste, fabulous vegetable, really one of my favorite winter vegetables. I would say that a lot about my winter veggies. But it's a little hard to cut sometimes. So I've tried using the peeler. It takes a long time if you use the peeler. I've tried, so I've scrubbed it really well. I'm going to cut the top off, and now I'm going to cut part of the bottom. But for the bottom, you see it kind of angles. It's not just, it's angles. So rather than just cut all the way straight here, I'm going to cut a little bit at an angle so that I don't lose too much of the vegetable that might be at the end. So this is a vegetable that you could peel it, but it's so knobby, and there's so many ridges and stuff. I find it takes a long time to peel. I just find it's better just to cut it. So I just cut the outsides of it. See, I still have a little bit of knob. If I had just done a straight cut, I would have lost this bit of vegetable. And now, because this is flat at the top, the rest I'll just take this. You can also take a peeling knife and do it that way. And sometimes I do, but this is, I find is pretty efficient. You may have to angle it back a little bit to get the very top of it. Or go around when you're done and get the very top. I'll show you a peel in a minute. See, I didn't cut very much, but it means, because see, it has all these little holes, like I think where the little roots were, and they go pretty deep. So if you're peeling, it's a lot to peel. But cutting it, I find it's pretty efficient, doesn't take very long. When I'm done, I just go over and take a look and see if there's anything I missed that I don't want to cut up into my soup. And there I have a nice clean celeriac. Not bad. So again, because it's flat at the top where I cut down, I turn it upside down, I own the flat part. And I make slices. I rock the knife as I go. It's a very dense root vegetable. It's pretty hard. And it's hard to just slice. And then I have these slices and then I dice them. It makes it very easy. So I put it down flat on the cutting board, cut it into slices, and then I turn it 90 degrees and do the other part so it's diced. And I just do that with my slices. And I have good control then about how big the pieces are. I'm not crazy about making it exactly uniform, but I try kind of to have it in the same ballpark in terms of the size. So let's just take another moment. Now, and that's all the vegetables I'm going to use for the soup. I'm going to use, I like to, you know me, I like to buy organic things. So I'm finding it harder and harder to get bulk organics at the store. They're very inconsistent about having it. And I can go to Whole Foods, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I get a good deal there. But sometimes it's very expensive. So I buy, oops, I left them over there. I buy a lot of my dry goods in bulk online, directly from the farmer or through Amazon. I find I can find the farmers, or I can find the millers, or I can find the people who are supplying these things directly through Amazon. It's great. Let me show you. So I have split peas. I put them in a jar, and barley, another jar. If you're a member of our group, I'm happy to share the bounty. It can take a little searching online to find the best supplier and the best price. I tend to buy in bulk. I put them in cold storage in the basement in a secure place, locked down. But that way I get my dry goods inexpensively, but organically, and without a lot of transportation waste and waste of packaging and things like that. So if you're a member of our farm group and you want to buy from me at cost, I don't do any markup. You just tell me you want a pound or 5 pounds. I'm happy to share. It means I go through my stock faster, so it's a benefit to me, but it's also a benefit to you in that you don't have to then locate your own dry goods yourself. So just going to check this out and see how it's doing. And basically I like the vegetables. just to start to brown up a little bit because I think it adds to the flavor. After I leave you, I'm going to go out to my sunroom. I brought in my rosemary for the winter, so I'll clip some of the rosemary from the bush and just plop it in there whole, and it'll disintegrate a bit as it cooks, and it'll add a lot of flavor. And I'll just show you. Yeah. So I'm going to use about a cup and a half of split peas, because they're going to grow a lot. Just pour them in my glass thing. I'm not that exact about it. I'm like, oh, that's about a cup and a half. And I have a measuring thing on there, so I'm like, might be closer to 2 cups, but who's counting? But it's about a cup and a half. And then I'll do the half a cup to bring it up to 2 cups of the barley. And basically you want like around 6 times as much water. So if this is about 2 cups, then I need about 12 cups of 2 cups, 6 times 6, about 12 cups of water. So this is a 4-cup measure, so I just need to fill this up 3 times. I can always add more water later. Before I add this, I'm just going to put some salt in, do a final stir, then add the split peas and barley, start adding the water, put in the rosemary, turn it down. After it comes to a boil, I'll turn it down and let it cook till it's done. And so I'm taking a little break from work, and later I'll have dinner ready when I'm done. Okay, thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, please post them on our Facebook posts or YouTube posts. And if you're interested in joining the farm next year, make sure you get in touch. Last year we totally sold out all the farm shares for Genesis Farm. It's a great economical way to get organic local produce and to be part of a community that's supporting itself and each other. So thanks so much. Talk to you soon, and stay warm. Bye.